Today's adventure brings us back to Forest Lawn Cemetery in Buffalo, New York for part 3 of our video series. Let's get to it. Okay, we've climbed the top of the hill across from the Chapel Crematorium to take a look at the dedication marker of Forest Lawn Cemetery. It was dedicated as a memorial of Forest Lawn Cemetery on September 2nd, AD 1866. This stone was laid by the Masonic fraternity. Here we have the final resting place of E.R. Thomas. He was a pioneer manufacturer of Thomas motor cars and sponsor of the trailblazing Worldwide Auto Tour. Here we have the final resting place of Edward H. Hutchinson, a foremost figure in Buffalo's industrial and commercial development and a civic leader of unsurpassed zeal, donor of the land on which the Hutch Tech High School now stands. He was president of Forest Lawn for 34 years and member of the Board of Trustees for 46 years. Here is the final resting place of Frank B. Bard. He was a great leader of Niagara Frontier in iron and many other industries, a civic leader and father of the Peace Bridge spanning the Niagara River. Here we find the final resting place of Alfred P. Southwick. He was a Buffalo dentist who invented the electric chair. His invention was first used in Auburn Prison on August 6, 1890. Here we have the final resting place of Frank Sedita. He was the mayor of Buffalo from 1966, the year I was born, to 1973. He passed away in 1975. Here we have the final resting place of Claudia May Sims. She was an active community leader, one of the founders of the Juneteenth Festival and BUILD, and a member of the Community Action Organization. Here is the final resting place of Henry G. Payne. The monument was erected by the National Marine Engineers Beneficial Association of the United States of America as a mark of love and esteem to our past national president. Here we have the final resting place of Mary Burnett Talbert. She was a civil rights activist against lynching. She was a patriotic worker during World War I and Red Cross nurse with the American Expeditionary Forces in France. And here we have our daily dose of Forest Lawn wildlife. Hello, guys. Don't mind me, just making you famous. Don't mind the shaking around. The terrain here is definitely hilly. But how am I not going to get majestic shots like this? This is awesome. Hey, guys. Don't mind me. Oh. I'm not sure she knows what to do. This is always worth the price of admission. Oh, there she goes, putting her tail up in alarm. Sorry, didn't mean to spook you. No, he's not so easily swayed, though. You gone. So we're going to take a walk through this scenic set of tombstones here to visit the resting site of America Pinckney and Peter Williams. So let's go. And here we have the final resting place of American Pinckney Peter Williams. America Pinckney was the great-granddaughter of Martha Washington. Her husband, buried with her, is Captain William G. Williams of the U.S. Topographical Engineers, killed in 1846 while leading a charge at the Battle of Monterrey, Mexico. The top one is Captain Williams. Again, it states he was a topographical engineer, U.S. Army. He was 45 years old. He was conducting a storming party at the taking of Monterrey, Mexico, September 21st, 1846. He fell and died in the hands of the enemy. His last message to his friends was, "I fell in the front of the column." His remains were recovered under the direction of a committee of the citizens of Buffalo and were buried with military honors, March 9, 1847. His wife, America Pinckney Peter, is the wife of Captain William G. Williams and great-granddaughter of Martha Washington. She died April 25, 1842. This unique monument is the final resting place of Lawrence D. Bell. He was an aviation pioneer and founder of the Bell Aircraft Corporation. This amazing monument is in memory of Burton Cornelius Dow, born 1899, died 1958. The marker reads, "And the bush was not consumed." Now, you don't have to be a dignitary to have an amazing marker here in Forest Lawn Cemetery. So, Burton Cornelius is not in the handout, flyer, or the pamphlet. However, his marker is definitely worth noting for its artistic style. The marker is a depiction of the burning bush from the story in Genesis. Down here is his actual gravesite. The Dent Family Memorial is also every bit as impressive. There's just a lot of funerary art here in Forest Lawn Cemetery. Sometimes you scarcely know where to look. Is that possibly behind us? Let's do a quick pan. This is section H. We're definitely going to have a handful of notables buried here that we're going to visit next. Actually, I do stand corrected, and I always will go back to correct myself. The story of Moses was from the book of Exodus. This one here is particularly from Exodus 3, chapter 2. Definitely not Genesis. Here is the final resting place of William Inscoe Buchanan. He was the director of the Pan American Exposition held in Buffalo in 1901. Remember when I said I had a thing for these copper headstones that just turn green? Well, the stone on the left is the final resting place of John J. Albright. He was famous in Buffalo's commercial development and donor of the magnificent Albright Art Gallery. Here we find the final resting place of M.A. Andrews. He was the second mayor of the city of Buffalo. Born 1793, passed away in 1834. He is interred with Sarah, his wife, and Harriet Hinsdale, their daughter. Here we have the final resting place of Captain Thomas A. Budd. He was killed in the Civil War in an engagement March 1862 while commanding the USS Penguin at Mosquito Inlet on the west coast of Florida. Here is the final resting place of Brigadier General Daniel D. Bidwell. He was born August 12, 1819. He was of the 3rd Brigade, 2nd Division, 6th Corps, United States Army. He was killed at the Battle of Cedar Creek, Virginia, October 19, 1864. Taking a time out here to check out another unique marker that actually features some of our fine furry friends. This looks like it's a pair of Dobermans. And the Dobermans seem to actually be looking over the final resting place of Eli Cook. He was mayor of Buffalo from 1853 to 1854 and 1855. He was twice elected to office. These two Dobermans seem to be standing silent sentinel. Here we have the final resting place of John Lay. He was Forest Lawn's first internment, July 12, 1850. He was Buffalo's first big business entrepreneur. Here we have the Crane Memorial. It's a Gothic Revival red sandstone monument of Thomas and Amanda Crane, 1853, designed by Richard Upjohn, architect of St. Paul's Cathedral. The scenery here is just so spectacular. We're going to do another little walkthrough here while we get... The scenery here is just so spectacular. We're going to do another walkthrough on our way to our next internment. And we find the final resting place of William Shelton. He was the beloved rector of St. Paul's Church from 1829 to 1881. Shelton Square is named in his honor. Here we have the final resting place of Major General Bennett Riley. He served in the Mexican War and as military governor of California. One of 3 generals for whom military posts were named. All 3 of his sons died young in the service of the United States. Here we have the final resting place of Jacob Shulkoff. He was an outstanding Buffalo merchant, founder of widespread successful industries, and the creator of the Niagara Falls Power Development. Get a look around at that memorial. We visited his gravesite a few moments ago. Now this is actually the Bidwell Monument. It honors General D. Bidwell, the Brigadier General, United States Volunteers, killed at Cedar Creek, Virginia, October 19, 1864. This monument is dedicated to his honor. And now walk with me while we approach another impressive monument. So this monument is known as the Battle of Bunker Hill Monument. It commemorates the centennial of the Battle of Bunker Hill, 1775, June 17th. And right next to the Bunker Hill Monument is the final resting place of Elbridge Gary Spalding. He was a banker and financier. As representative to the 31st Congress, introduced Legal Tender Act, saving the Union from financial disaster, known as the Father of the Greenbacks. Here we find the final resting place of Maria M. Love. She was a philanthropist and social visionary, one of the most prominent adherents to the social gospel, a humanitarian movement during the late 19th century interested in solutions to its urban problems, especially poverty. Here is one of the more notable burials in Forest Lawn Cemetery. This is the final resting place of Millard Fillmore. He was the 13th President of the United States of America, born January 7, 1800, died March 8, 1874. We're definitely going to take a look around the fenced-off plot. He is joined here by First Lady Mary Abigail Fillmore. She died in 1854. Let's take a stroll around here. We'll be able to see some other interments that are buried with the president. So there's the actual headstones. Millard Fillmore's on the right. First Lady is on the left. Oh, the door's open. We should be able to come right in here. This is something I've never done before. So we're going to really be able to get up close and personal. This is rare. I don't know if this was left open by accident or not, but I've never been this close. Here's the resting place of Abigail, widow of Benijah Strong, and formerly the wife of the Reverend Lemuel Powers of Stillwater, New York, who died in 1800. Now, I stand corrected before. This is the headstone of Abigail Powers, wife of Millard Fillmore. We have several other small stones here with initials on them. I don't know if this gate was left open by accident or not, but oh, those must be the children. Millard Powers Fillmore and Mary Abigail Fillmore were the children. Caroline Carmichael's the wife of Millard Fillmore. Well, no, I stand corrected again. Abigail was definitely the wife of Millard Fillmore. Caroline also is listed as the wife of Millard Fillmore. I wonder if that's a second wife. Either way, I've never been this close. This is definitely a first. I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be in here, but I'm going to make my way out of here so I don't get yelled at just in case. But yeah, definitely one of the notables here in Forest Lawn Cemetery, Millard Fillmore. And again, that was as up close and personal as I had ever got. So I'm sorry if I sounded a little confused there. There was a stone for Abigail Powers, the wife of Millard Fillmore. And then on the other side, there's Carolyn, also listed as a wife of Millard Fillmore. I mean, it's not a surprise that the entire family would be buried here in this same plot. So in the comments, if someone has that information of if he was married twice, or whatever the case is, definitely feel free to put that in the comments. But that's the closest I've ever been inside that monument. That gate was never open, and I've never been actually in there. So if it was open by mistake, sorry about that, but I definitely wasn't not going in. Here is the final resting place of Charles E. Clark. He died May 13th, 1875 at 63 years old. He purchased 80 acres from the Granger estate in 1849 to establish a beautiful park cemetery. Here we have the Phelps Monument. It was sculpted in Rome, Italy in 1876 by N. Cantalamessa Papati. The classically draped figures of faith, hope, charity, and fortitude with various symbolic objects exemplify the instructive nature of the rural cemetery and Victorian funerary art. We're going to come up and get close and personal with this monument. And it's also, needless to say, Orson Phelps is buried here, as well as the rest of the Phelps family. This is a family plot. So let's take a look at the statuary. Like I said before, this is Hope. This is Fortitude. This is Charity. And this is Faith. We're going to take a step or two back and get a look at the whole thing here, and we're going to get a look at the family members. So as we go around this burial plot, we see the headstones of various family members of the Phelps family. Okay, so we're going to document this little find. I just think it's really, really cool. Going to come up through and around here. And if you're not really looking for it, you won't find it, because it's hidden behind this shrubs. But kind of come around here and we find this crypt. So here's buried someone named Collender. Over here, Russell Mary Osborne. And if we duck through here, we find Randall. Is this his first name? Is this his last name? I don't really know. But I know he was part of a Masonic order. So this is just another example of just finding something seriously cool and hidden here at Forest Lawn and documenting it. Because if you're not looking for something like this, you won't find it. These are things I found through my little tour last year. I took photos of it, but I told myself if I came across it while I was videoing for my series here, I would definitely share it. And to find this gem, the simplest way to do that is to find this gem. Speaking of gems, I know I filmed this in the first part, I believe it was, first or second part. But basically, you find the Lipsey Memorial, and hidden behind it in those bushes is that cool crypt. Judith C. Lipsey is buried there, and Stanford Lipsey is buried right there. And in the bushes is that really, really cool crypt. Okay, that'll do it for this one. Final part coming up next. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.